notes, you got to be writing on your own notebook or book. And if you're actually watching stuff in the dome, you're reclined, looking up. You're not looking down, taking notes. So it's more of exposing people to things. But we do have things that for our astronomy classes, we have. I won't call them experiments, but we have. Well, how would you explain it? We have equipment that we set up in the lobby that they do things with. Okay, so they have to do something, so that works okay for the astronomy classes. So they actually have their whole class there, but they only use the dome for a small part of each class hour, basically. It's okay for lecturing if the students don't have to take a lot of notes, or if you're handing out notes. But it's mostly a see and observe in the dome. So.
Have the number of classes or just trips that classes take to the planetarium increased recently?
Yeah. Our K-12 school attendance is definitely up. It was down as the economy tanked, but it's going back up. So schools are finding money or getting sponsors. Yeah, so they're finding a way to bring students to the planetarium. And we're careful. We give teachers the options of things they can select, shows, and so we understand. We try to keep track of. We're keeping track of what the science standards are statewide, and so we have things which we think we can remind people they align with the science standards that they're trying to prepare the students for. It's the way to say it, I guess. So we have that information, and we make that available to teachers who want to bring students, so we can show them things which align with the standards that they're trying to work towards, having the students understand certain things. Okay.
And the number of MSU specific classes that go there, has that also increased?
That's pretty much, no, that's definitely increased in terms of the number of visits, not necessarily the number of classes which are formally assigned there. But the number of visits by MSU students is also increased, right, as part of their classes. Right.
Okay. Backing up a little bit, what does a typical day here at the office look for you?
For me?
Yes.
A lot of email, all sorts of things. Meetings, typically one a day for 1 to 2 hours, either for whatever reason. I have a couple of regular staff meetings during the week, and then it's sort of the actual work. Okay, which is one, reviewing what staff members are doing, and then other than that, so that's a fair amount of time, and then other than that, it's working whatever needs to be worked on. So I cover everything from personnel, actions, and recruiting and hiring, which there's obviously other people who help. So it's a question of what I oversee versus what I do myself, and so there's a lot of oversight, a lot of helping people with things, coaching, answering questions. We have a large number of external grants, so it's managing those when needed, or it's approving proposals for grant money. So we have about 150 grants. So you can figure if they're on average, if they're typically 3 years, we have a proposal every week, and we have a new grant every week, and we have a grant that's ending every week. So that's, on average, that's the kind of thing I'm dealing with, or I've got people dealing with. So I'm not sure there's a really typical day, because different things come up in a department this size. I can tell you what I don't have for the most part is don't have to deal much with actual instruction. So I don't have students coming in and complaining about grades or about instructors. I do get complaints about facilities. And so if there's things that need to be repaired or changed, those we'll work on. Those we take care of. And of course, the other thing is that it's for 4 buildings. So it's this building, it's the planetarium, it's the observatory, which we also manage, and we have students out there doing research projects. And it's also, we have 1 faculty member with laboratories and graduate students in Gilder Hall. So facilities-wise, we're talking about 4 major operations in terms of maintenance and repairs that we stay on top of when someone says something's not working. But like I say, the biggest thing I don't have to do is meet with students about classes. I meet with students about other things, but I don't have to meet with them generally about classes, and I don't have to worry about instruction. Do I have to worry about whether laboratories for our courses are working? Yes, we have a full-time tech, and if he runs into issues, then I generally end up hearing about it. So I'll hear about things like, this can't any longer be repaired economically. Find me some money for replacements. Or we'll have that discussion. Is it worth repairing, or should I try to find money to replace it? That's the involvement in teaching to some extent. Is we have about 1,200 students, I think, last I knew, in laboratory sections. So we have something like 8 separate laboratories. And so it's keeping those operating and supplied as need be. So that's, but I say, we have a full-time person and a supervisor, faculty supervisor, who does work on those things, but I get involved when, it's too hot, it's too cold, the toilet was stopped up, managing these 4 buildings.
You mentioned the observatory. So you play a similar role there as well?
Yeah, that's part of physics. Yeah, that was the same. It was part of astronomy, and when they were going to get rid of the astronomy department, we went through this, there's no such thing as a top 20 physics department without an astronomy group. So we said, you got to take astronomy, so astronomy became part of physics. And with that came the observatory, right? And that was a long time ago. So many more years than the planetarium. So we've been managing the observatory a long, long time. So that's another facility that we are, because it's not a classroom, we're basically 100% responsible for the building maintenance and repairs, and so we also take care of that. And we use that for public observing. So we have public observing 6 months on the weekend, 6 or 7 months of the year, where we're open to the public. We set up telescopes outside in the parking lot so people can look through those, and if there's something really interesting, we let people go up and use the actual telescope that's in the dome. And one of our faculty members has some students doing some projects out there, so they go out there and do some observing at different times. So, and that's sort of another unique facility. It has a 24-inch telescope in it. And a lot of, and attendant offices and workshops. So, and it's 50 years old. So we've had to do some major renovations out there to keep it operating. And we find it just useful enough, I guess is the answer, just useful enough. In both in terms of, it is used a little bit for classes, but we have this one faculty member who's gotten students interested in doing some research out there. And then in addition, say it's a big component of what I guess would be termed public service. So both the planetarium and the observatory are, from my standpoint, are mostly, a huge percentage of why we do it is public service.
So would you say that the observatory and the planetarium are kind of connected in that way?
Sure, because people from the planetarium frequently go out and help with the observing nights at the observatory, and so yeah, they're not real connected, but somewhat connected is the answer. Right. And we've also done some observing. Well, the roof of this building has telescope mounts. So we can, for classes, we can have classes come here and they can do observing from the roof of this building. Then we don't have to worry about them getting out to the observatory. And also we have occasionally people at the planetarium, if there's something special going on, they have their own set of telescopes, portable ones, and they've set them up just out front, or in some cases on the top of the parking ramp. Okay, and so they'll have informal observing, from the parking ramp. Or we had there was some solar stuff, and they just had solar telescopes out in front of the planetarium. Anybody could look through them who walked by. So, there's a lot of different things that have been done at different points in time. The observatory, you cannot, the closest you can come